सुधाकरात्तमोदकं सदा विमुक्तिसाधकं कलाधरावतंसकं विलासिलोकरक्षकम् अनायकैकनायकं नाशिते पदैत्यकम् नताशुभाशुनायकं नमामि तं विनायकम्.
How is the Hindu ceremony different from any religious ceremony you have been to before?
I had never been to a temple that had been hand carved in another country and then shipped to the U.S., and where the women have to worship in the back and the men stay up front.
How was it similar?
That they have fellowship in a different building, somewhat similar to the church that I go to.
What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was actually being inside the temple, just seeing everything that was hand carved, all the detail put into it, and it was just really mesmerizing and beautiful.
Will you go back?
Yes, I would definitely go back and just see everything again.
So my background in a worship ceremony has come from being raised in a Christian household, and through the Christian beliefs, I've actually been to many denominations and different kinds of churches. I've been to very small churches and very big churches, but throughout them they all have some kind of ritual. Like, you go and you sing songs, and then you shake hands with everyone, and you sit down and listen to the preacher, and then they sing some more songs, and then you head home. That's what I've experienced in my past. I felt like this differed from the Hindu religion because the first thing you do when you come in to the mandir is actually take off your shoes and wash your hands, and within inside the main place of worship you do remain silent, or you have the option of praying or chanting out sacred songs. And also women sit in the back and the men sit in the front, and which I found out later, it wasn't because women are considered lesser, it's actually out of respect to the priest who took a vow of celibacy, and to respect to that, women will sit farther in the back, and even in general they'll try to stray away from being too close to a priest, which I found that to be very interesting. After the ceremony happens, you're actually allowed to go around to statues. They're all placed around the room. They're of sacred people and sacred statues also meaning certain things. What I did notice is that at Krishna's statue they leave milk in front of it. I wasn't sure why. I never got a chance to ask that. But there was something that I felt was kind of similar to, my past experiences. During the ceremony, there was this point where you actually passed around this incense and you kind of waved it around your head as kind of a blessing, and I kind of, may have correlated it with past experiences and saying it may be close to like a communion, because it's in a sense representing something deeper, or just also might mean something that is just a blessing. I think one of my favorite parts about it was also that that when I talked to someone afterwards, they just said it was really open to, doing what you prefer to do during a worship ceremony. You can either, choose to chant songs and pray the whole time, remain silent, or actually lay on the ground and pray. So I thought that was really interesting, and I think if I had the opportunity to go, I definitely would.
How is the Hindu ceremony different from any other religious ceremony you've ever been to?
It was different in the fact that the men sat in the front and the females sat in the back. They were behind a barrier type thing. They could still see. Everybody sat down on the floor, and there was flames on 3 little. They look like candles. I'm not real sure of the name that they are called, but a man had a tray, and he went to all the men and did it, and then he sat it down on the floor in front of the ladies, and another lady picked it up, and she went around, and they all placed their hand one at a time. The praying, how they prayed was different. there was a group prayer where they were all praying, and that's when they walked around. After that was when they walked around with the candles. But right after that, the ropes were taken down, and everybody got up. They went to each individual section. They were all behind doors. These statues of the people that they were praying to were behind these doors, and they laid on the ground. Some sat, and they kept going over and back up and praying, and they laid on the ground. They got back up. They laid back on the ground. Very different.
What was your favorite part of the ceremony?
My favorite part of the ceremony was actually being in the building in the mandir. It was so beautiful. Everything is made out of marble, and it's just, I've been here once before with a friend who did a project in religions, and we came and we got a tour of the entire place, and it's just so beautiful on the inside. There's just so many, they said, hand-carved sculptures. Basically, that's how it's put together, and it's just gorgeous. That's my favorite part of the beauty.
The main difference between the Hindu ceremony and the Christian Baptist services that I'm used to was the fact that men and women were separated. Just like everybody else in the video said, we weren't used to having to sit in a certain spot. We were all used to being able to sit wherever we wanted to. And I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. It's not like it bothered me or anything. It was just really different. Something that I found similar was just the feeling of community in church. When we went in, I was really nervous. I had no idea what to expect. I was afraid that we weren't going to be welcomed and that people were going to, just kind of look at us strangely. But everybody was so nice, and even though it's not my personal religion, it still had that same feel of community and, what is the word I'm looking for? Love. I mean, you could feel the fact that everybody really truly loved and believed what was going on and what they felt. I really liked that part. It really just felt like a community. I would definitely go back, and I would love to take some of my friends with me.
The Hindu ceremony was a lot different from, it was kind of what I expected, but it was a lot different from churches that I've been to before. When I was little, I went to a non-denominational, just a Christian church. It was just like a basic building with we had pews and the pulpit in the front with the pastor and everything that read scriptures. Here they didn't do that. They were separated by gender, which I was surprised by. I didn't know that about their culture. The men were in the front, the females were in the back, I guess, as a scale of power. I'm not sure. Which was different from churches I've been to, because we all sit together. You can sit wherever you want, the front and the back, It doesn't matter. They didn't wear shoes in certain places. That was weird. I've never been shoeless in a temple or a church before. They use different languages, obviously. They don't speak English. One thing that I really noticed that was stuck out to me, it was probably my favorite part about it, was the designs that were in the temple. They were intricate, let's see, I was trying to think of the word, intricate, delicate designs that you could tell that a lot of time went into building that and into designing it and everything. When we pray, we usually don't do it to a certain statue or something like that. We just kind of talk to ourselves, kind of. They were pretty much silent, except for a few sounds, They didn't make very much noise, which was different because, I don't know, in other churches that I've been to, they're really, I don't know, they have discussions and everything, especially with Sunday school. The similarities, they asked you to be respectful, like any place of service, like any temple would. There was a feeling of peace there, actually, like with most churches, I guess. There were no hats allowed, just conservative dressing. They prayed like we do. Well, not exactly like we do, but they prayed. And they were just, I don't know, it was an interesting experience. My favorite part was the designs, looking at all the work that went into it, I guess. Would I go back? I probably would for educational purposes, but it's not my cup of tea, really. It was interesting to learn about why they believe what they believe, kind of, and their beliefs and how they differ from ours and the similarities and all that. I don't know, it was a pretty valuable experience. It was pretty rewarding. I would probably go back.